Hello everyone, welcome to my first video of 2023. I have to apologize, I was not very active on my channel last year. The year just got too busy for me, but I'm really hoping to post a new video each week this year, and I'll make up for the 2 weeks that I haven't posted in January yet, but I have lots of new stitches to show you guys and hopefully some nice projects along the way as well. In this first video of this year, I'm going to show you how to do the half brioche stitch. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, and thank you again for being my regular viewer and supporting my channel, I've done videos on the brioche stitch, which is a wonderful stitch and it produces very squishy fabric and a very stretchy fabric. But sometimes the brioche stitch can seem a little scary for some folks. So this one is a half brioche stitch. I have a couple swatches here in a lighter shade and a darker shade, and the fabric itself lays flat, as you can see. I consider this the right side because it has more of a brioche stitch look. This is the wrong side, or the back side of the fabric. And as you can see, unlike the brioche stitch, it actually looks different on the back side. So let me show you how it's knit up. I would put the level of this stitch at an advanced beginner level. The stitch is knit on a multiple, or rather an even number of stitches, and it is a 2-row repeat, so quite simple. I have here 8 stitches that I've cast on. I'm going to go ahead and cast on a couple more stitches. I am using the long tail cast on. You can use any cast on technique of your choice, and you don't need double pointed needles. I'm just using them because it's easy for this demonstration. And the first row that I'm going to knit is going to be the wrong side row. And I'm going to show you the technique where I'm going to slip the first stitch and knit the last stitch through the back loop. That'll give you a neater edge, as you can see in this swatch here. Now, if this is a little bit too complicated when I show this, and you'd rather prefer just to have a regular knit on the first stitch and on the last stitch, that's fine as well. So here we go. For the first row, you're going to slip the first stitch, which means you're just going to insert your needle and slip the stitch over without doing anything to it. Now, this very first stitch, it might be a little bit on the looser side, so just tug on the yarn to tighten it up a little bit. Then start your pattern repeat. You slip one stitch with the yarn in front and knit one, and that's just your pattern repeat for the whole row all the way to the last stitch. So here we go. Our yarn rather is naturally in the front, so we're just going to insert our needle and slip the stitch. So insert your needle as if to purl and just pull the stitch over. Now we have to knit the next stitch. To knit the next stitch, your yarn is in the front. We're not going to take it to the back. We're going to leave it in the front, and we're going to knit the stitch. And now watch what happens. When I do that, this yarn, as it comes over, it creates this yarn over, and we want that to happen. The one thing I'll say to pay attention is don't pull this too much, because if you pull this too much, you see what happens over there? That little stitch is now riding onto the needle. We don't want it doing that. So don't have to pull too much here, or you can just use your thumb to kind of hold that stitch down and knit. Okay? Now you notice what happened. This was our first stitch that we slipped. By doing this, we've created this brioche stitch. So these 2 stitches together, the stitch and the yarn over, it's called a brioche stitch. So we've created a brioche stitch and then just a regular knit. That's your pattern repeat for the whole row. So here we go. Slip one with yarn in front. Now, the very first time our yarn was naturally in the front, but now the yarn is in the back. So we're going to bring the yarn to the front, slip the stitch, and then knit the stitch. Don't take the yarn to the back, leave it in the front and knit it. And you've created your brioche stitch and a regular knit, and you keep doing that. So slip one with yarn in the front and knit one. And slip one with yarn in the front and knit one. So you're going to keep doing this all the way to the last stitch. And your last stitch, your option, you can either just knit one if you just want a simple knitted edge on both sides, or if you're doing the slip the first stitch technique, then you're going to knit the last stitch through the back loop, and that is this back loop here. So you're going to take your needle, insert it into the back loop and knit. All right, and that's the end of your first row. We're calling that our wrong side row. We're going to turn our work, and now row 2. So for row 2, the technique I showed you for the first stitch and the last stitch, you're going to do that on every single row. So every single row, we are going to slip that first stitch. And again, pay attention. When you go to knit the next stitch, don't try to pull the stitch too much because you don't want that happening where that stitch rides up, where that little loop rides up on the needle. We don't want that. So we slip the first stitch. Now the pattern repeat is a regular purl and then a brioche knit, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So regular purl, yarn is already in the front in this case, this first case. So we're going to do a regular purl and a brioche knit. And what that means is this little stitch, this 2 stitches together that we're calling the brioche stitch, we're going to knit it together. We're going to knit both those stitches together. So to knit it, obviously I'm going to take the yarn to the back in this case, and I'm going to knit it. That brioche knit is abbreviated as bark, B-R-K, bark. And that's your pattern repeat. That's it. Purl 1, so you bring the yarn to the front to purl, and bark. So take the yarn to the back to do the brioche knit or bark. All right. So let's see that a couple more times. Purl, and then woof for our bark, and purl, and bow wow for this bark. You can make all the doggy sounds you want. It's fun while knitting brioche, trust me. And then the last stitch, I'm doing this the slip technique, so I am going to knit it through the back loop. And that's it. That is your 2-row repeat. You're going to turn your work. You're going to start again with row 1. Keep doing rows 1 and 2, and your work will start to look like this. So here I've ended on a row 2. So row 1, it's the wrong side. Row 2 is the right side. At the end of your work, let's say you're knitting a scarf with this pattern. At the end of your work, I would suggest ending on a row 2, because when you end on a row 2, all of your stitches are regular stitches. There are no brioche stitches on here. At the end of row 2, you're just going to do a regular bind off. If you have questions or comments or ideas for projects, please leave them for me in the comments field, and I'll do my best to respond. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please, please, please subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping to get to at least 25,000 subscribers this year. I know I have to post content on my end, so I'll try to do my part, but I'm hoping you'll do your part as well and help me get there. Thanks as always for your support, and happy knitting.